我也不知道为什么，就是我们在游戏中的表现就最近不是很好，我们要想办法去改善这个问题。
然后也需要很长时间的训练嘛。
We're overconfident. We thought that there's no way we could lose to them, and then we lost.
We've adjusted a little bit in our pick and ban.
We know now which picks we shouldn't fall back upon just because they're comfort, especially something like Z blind or like, let's say, Rise blind.
我们以前在国内打比赛，基本上都是就是看自己喜欢的拿，然后到世界大舞台，就是拿出了一些自己该打的体系。
我应该会回去再讨论详细一点，然后再跟他们做对抗这样子。然后还有就是很多的选手就可以参考，像刚刚打完 TSM 的蓝宝，然后我就去学习。
I don't think we're adjusting too much. We basically play the game that we've been playing throughout the whole boot camp and everything.
Some teams are weaker than I expected, and some teams obviously are stronger than I expected. Next time we'll be prepared.
Welcome back, everyone. It is time to get into our first match of the day, where Samsung White will go up against Dark Passage. Some interesting quotes there throughout the video that I think we'll be referencing through most of the day, but let's get to the game. This, first and foremost, is a rematch between the two teams who played yesterday, and quite frankly, Dark Passage was just strategically outplayed, mechanically outplayed. They gave up a perfect game, and if they don't want to do the same, they need to make plays. Yesterday, they sat back and almost allowed Samsung White to roll over them, despite the fact Samsung White had very little kill pressure or lane pressure with their team composition. What do you think about that, Double Lift?
Well, yeah, I definitely think that Dark Passage tried to play Samsung White's game, which is very standard. Just play into exactly what Samsung White has been doing for an entire year. I think they should try to do something crazy, something Samsung White has never seen before. Maybe they have some cheese, maybe they have some pocket strategies or pocket picks that Samsung White will never have played against in Korea. That's what they should do.
I mean, I think that... where do you go with this? Because AHQ tried to blitz cheese them at level 1 and got level 1 aced. So I think they're going to be highly ready for whatever anyone has to throw at them.
I wanna go hardcore for the strategic, interesting stuff. Remember back when it was in NLB, the 4-man mid Heimerdinger jungle, shove turrets down, Olaf teleports top, like something actually crazy, something strategically different, not just champion.
I would love to see that.
I would love to see that too.
It's actually a really cool strategy that was birthed around, I think, 2 years ago at World Finals. It involved a 4-man proxy around the tier 2 turret. A certain team tried to do it, but they only got they only got purple side and it only worked for blue side.
let's briefly talk a little bit about Imp and Mata. It's the two players we've been talking about extensively. Imp, in particular, got that pentakill yesterday. He's got a ridiculously high KDA. Along with his support, this duo has been crushing. And, you know, Double, if you were saying in the matchup against Name, you were disappointed Name, impressed by Imp and Mata. Imp, is there anyone that can stop him?
Let's be honest, Dark Passage's bottom lane has no chance, but I do think there is a way that they can win. Just randomly all-inning at level 2 or 3, if you're both at full HP, it can honestly go either way. No matter how mechanically gifted Imp and Mata are, you can't really predict the randomness, the chaos of a 2v2 all-in level 2, level 3. So if they don't get poked down enough, they could potentially kill them 2-on-2, I believe. But
well, we'll see. We will see. Guys, I think the teams are already on stage, so let's send it over to the casters to kick off game 1 of the day.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot. And hello, everyone. I'm Joe Miller. And joining me once again on the Casa Desk are Martin DeFiscio Lunger and Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler. Gonna be a pleasure, guys, once again. Some great games we had on day 1 back together. Hopefully you remember to talk after the team fights this time.
We're with you, Joe. We're here.
Good stuff. And, of course, we're here to bring you the next 3 matches. Let's get right to it with the starting lineups for both teams. On the blue side for this game is Korea's Samsung White, with Looper in the top lane, Dandy in the jungle, Pawn in mid, Imp the AD carry, and Mata on support.
And on the red side, representing Turkey, it's Dark Passage. Up top is Fabulous, in the jungle, Crystal. Mid, Naru, AD carry, Holy Phoenix, and support, Touch.
So, we've already heard the guys on the analyst desk and their thoughts on how Dark Passage could possibly win this game, what they have to do for it. Let's talk about champion picks here. What are the specifics and what are these two teams looking for?
So that's an interesting thing because they just got... you know, not only a perfect game, but they got aced at the end of that game yesterday too. And so then they surrendered. And it was very recent. It was just yesterday. So that kind of changes your mentality. And you have to think they're going to come into this game trying something new. One of these, you know, higher risk, you know, high probability of going badly strategies, but something surprising. You know, they're going to go for something where they invade early, or they use some, you know, champions like Heimerdinger or something to shove down turrets. They could do anything. I mean, you got to do something else against Samsung White here. They just got perfect game.
Honestly, just you have to run comfort picks and just try and do the best you can in laning phase and hope it's enough. I mean, that's pretty much your option in this game here.
Well, let's find out, shall we? We are going to head into Champion Select, and we see that Samsung White already taking away Nidalee. A big pick there for Fabulous. We've also seen him bringing out that Kha'Zix in the solo lane, which, fair to him, he actually did pretty decently on. Lucian also taking away other side Tristana, Yasuo Bandao.
And again, talking about comfort picks, Samsung White targeted Nidalee. Fabulous used it in the wildcard tournament, and he was really, really strong on it. And the team actually worked really well around this Nidalee pick, put a lot of resources on getting him hit, so won't be an option. Alistar, however, is open for Samsung White. Only second time he's not been banned, I believe, maybe third time.
Well, 10 out of 13 games, it says right there at the bottom of the screen for you. 79.
Wow.
76.9.
All right, third time then.
Yeah. So, other side then for Dark Passage, and this is the big question. Do they go for those comfort picks and try to just play their game and hope that they can come out on top of this one? Do they go for something a little bit crazier and high risk, high reward, all in at level 2 as we heard from Double Lift?
Well, nothing crazy just yet. I mean, Lee Sin is their #1 jungle pick for Crystal, so that's definitely a comfort pick here. And also taking away the Ryze. The cool part about Ryze is he's very good in these like skirmish fights, and he's also great in late game team fights. So it is a pick which, if you do manage to get to late game, which obviously is going to be very, very tough against Samsung White here, which can do some damage at least.
Well, we'll see what they have learned from yesterday, because this is definitely a big opportunity for them. Teams really, it's hard for them to get scrims against Samsung White even.
Right.
But every game that you get to play against them is definitely worthwhile.
I'm really happy to actually lock in Braum here, because during the wildcard tournament, it was the best champion for touch. And him and Holy Phoenix down the bottom lane, they were extremely aggressive early on. Double Lift again, he just talked about this level 2 all-in. Braum is one of the best supports to do it on. If you manage to get onto them, land a stun, you have a lot of damage then, and you can actually surprise someone like him.
And if they were to lock in that Jinx as well, you know, that's one of the champions he's definitely comfortable.
Oh, yes.
Talking about comfort picks. Ezreal, though, he does have some good all-in potential as well.
Early on,
or when he gets level 6. A lot of people underestimate the burst that the Ezreal combos can have at level 6. If it doesn't have to go through minions, the ultimate does a tremendous amount of damage.
It's definitely a burst comp here early on from Dark Passage, and they're just gonna try. Surprise in lane, get a kill, maybe get a dragon, and you can start rolling here. Samsung White may be looking for some different picks.
Well, if it's Urgot, Gnar, or Teemo, I will buy a hat, because I currently don't have one, and then eat it afterwards. That's not going to happen. It's actually going to be Janna and the Zed locked in here for pawn in the mid lane.
So once again from Samsung White, they're not going to have fun in Champ Select here. This is dead serious all along. They want to show how good they are. Because keep in mind, if they can get more perfect games, get more pentakills, I mean, it's going to look great on paper, first of all, but also the teams who's going to face them in the quarterfinals are going to look at these performances and say, this team, they know exactly how to play.
So what is the final pick then for Dark Passage? It'll be for Naru in that mid lane up against Pawn Zed.
This would be great.
And that's the thing about Naru, and we said it before, during Wildcard, he played a different champion every single game, one of which was Fizz, and he locks that in here.
Yeah, so Fizz into Zed is pretty tough early on, but you will outscale him both in one-on-one and also in team fights. I mean, you can dodge his ulti completely with your E on Fizz, and you will always build an hourglass anyway, which works perfect against the Zed here. So as long as he can survive the early stages, which, funny enough, is going to be the hardest part for him and for Dark Passage against Samsung White, he will actually be able to outscale.
All able to jump in. So he's going to have to be very quick on that pole to be able to dodge.
And I just have to say, respect to Dark Passage for actually coming in here, bringing some comfort picks, bringing some strong champions for them at least to try and surprise Samsung White, and not just pick random champions and try and run around and have fun. I mean, they want to come in here.
We heard rumors. We heard rumors that they were crafting some crazy thing.
But this right here is pretty serious.
The rumor was basically that they closed their door to talk in secret. So I'm
That's
not sure.
enough. That's enough.
I'm not sure whether we can gather from that something crazy was about to happen from them. Obviously not this time around. Going with those comfort picks and respect to them. Obviously saying, you know, guys, we can pick a strong team here and hopefully come out on top. But guys, now the players have decided on their champions, who do you think's going to win? Let us know by tweeting hashtag SSW win or hashtag DP win to @LOL Esports, and we'll check out your votes later on in the game. Actually, Dark Passage has been getting some big percentages despite the fact that they've been losing games. All power to all you guys in Turkey that are watching and supporting your local team right now. But we are going to get into game. It's Samsung White versus Dark Passage. A very, very tough game for Dark Passage, who, well, lost in a perfect game from Samsung White yesterday. And they're obviously just going to come into this one and say, let's show them what we can do.
Right, and yesterday Dark Passage played 2 games. They had EDG, #1 seed from China, of course, and now Samsung White. And they actually managed to hold their own in the laning phase for like the first 10-15 minutes. Were fairly even in CS. There was a lot of action, especially in the bottom lane yesterday against Samsung White here. Nobody died. It took like 16 minutes, I believe, before the first blood. And Samsung White simply just took control of the jungle instead.
Yeah, like we said, the longer you can last in this game, the more that you can take away, the more that you can learn from playing Samsung White. I mean, even the teams that did go over to Korea to boot camp didn't all get scrims with Samsung White to be able to play them. They have to test you out, and you have to prove yourself to be able to get multiple games against them. Dark Passage get another one here.
And it's pretty funny actually with the way scrims for Samsung White works, because they will, at least from what we've heard, they will kind of troll in the first game just to see what you're doing once you get the lead and how good you actually are at like closing out the game. And then they kind of test you, and then the next game they just go in there and destroy you.
Yeah, when you request scrims with them, they give you exactly 2 to prove yourself.
And if you're not up to the bar, well, you don't get to play Samsung White.
That was the problem, man. Me and Kobe, we failed.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, that's again why we have you two guys here, you know. Old school pro players playing your trade now in a different way. That's all good for us. This bottom lane, we already talked about the fact that Holy Phoenix and Touch, they may want to be aggressive early on. And look at that, Imp already down to around about half HP, was just 1 auto attack away from being stunned up.
And you have the Relic Shield here on Braum, so you just have to fast push early, get the level 2, and just try and jump onto Samsung White.
Exactly. If Ezreal gets Arcane Shift plus Mystic Shot, it is so easy for them to instantly get the Braum passive on a single target. He can do the Q flash from Braum into an auto attack, and then 2 hits from Ezreal. It's going to be procced on somebody.
Only problem is they're kind of losing the push here early on. Their range from Janna and Corgi is too much for him to deal with, so they've actually been taking a lot of poke here and won't get the early level 2.
And that mid lane starting to be a problem already for them. We just saw their pawn hitting level 2, going pretty much all in. Didn't use his ignite there. Could have possibly, I think, got that kill, but Touch in the bottom lane going to take a lot of damage as well. That phosphorus bomb just landed onto him into the end, and the way that this is looking, as they burn through all their pots, they might have to be thinking of recalling home soon. I'd say that Crystal almost definitely needs to come down this bottom lane to relieve some pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he is on the bottom side. He did start on his red buff and then just went all the way down. He's actually going to find Bandy here.
Things
looking at each other.
And Dandy actually going to be there as well. That's a nice little hop over onto his trinket ward just to make sure that he doesn't get caught out. We did see Mata coming up there from that bottom lane. In terms of the early CS, Ford's starting to run away with things in the middle, but that's exactly your point in this matchup, that he has to somehow get through this weaker early stage.
I do actually wonder if Crystal is going to pay a lot of attention just on the bottom side, because you just talked about how the bottom lane could be an option because he wants to get Holy King instead. And we have seen Crystal use a lot of time in the bottom lane, especially yesterday. Both games, EDG and Samsung White, he would just sit bottom lane even when his buffs were up.
And he is on Lee Sin. The lane gank is always available to him. But really, I do want to go back over to the... Oh, never mind. He's jumping in for it.
Touch going very aggressive from this one, and Impact using an early Valkyrie manages to get away from a lot of the damage that could have come down there out of Dark Passage. And to be honest, they're pretty much tied on CS there. So despite Dark Passage taking a lot of poke in the early stages, doing well to keep up in the farm.
The junglers were mirroring each other too, both heading up topside, but it looks like Crystal heads towards mid and Fab gets under the turret!
Oh, this is bad news for him. That's a good flash over, but Dandy will follow through. The Rune Prison's not going to be enough, and that is first blood. Crystal came to mid. They didn't get pawned though.
And Fabulous on his top lane, he had one job. Don't get close enough to the tower so the Alistar can flash Q you and then headbutt you back into the tower range. He did so good in the start. He was poking well, he got a lot of farm, and then he just got a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, he did do a good job of taking advantage of the early range advantage on Alistar, and he bullied Alistar, got him down in CS, and earned enough money at least for his tier on the first back. That's important. If you ever get shoved back without enough money to purchase tier or catalyst, then you have a rough time. It's very cheap to get.
Yes,
so
that's a really bad start. Basically level 1, you just die instantly and you get absolutely no gold here. So luckily for him, or good enough for him, he can get his tier, go towards the catalyst.
Something I did want to point out earlier, though, for the mid lane was that Naru, he started with the Cloth 5 start instead of the classic Crystalline flat start for a lot of his players, and it makes it so that he can build really easily into that arm guard. So now he's stacking towards it very quickly here. Now, the only problem is that he did have to go back to base because you run out of mana without the Crystalline flash.
Exactly, and it took a lot of poke as well. We did see him actually try to all in the mid lane and just, in the end, took too much damage. And another problem, obviously, you want the early armor. You're also going to delay your Sheen, which is going to be like your main damage also early game. But Fabulous, though, he has no flash.
Dandy coming in the back. Will they decide to dive this one? Both of them at level 5 there, and they won't dive that one, but it's going to at least force Fabulous to back away once again. Although there we see Crystal coming in. Dandy down to less than half. Can they get the Rune Prison? There it is. Comes in range. Can they get the kill? There's the jump over. The Q doesn't land, and Dandy will be able to walk out.
Look at that ward he plays too. He hops over and then plays the ward so that even if the Q's heading at him, he has the time to dodge it.
Now we're doing a very good job here in the mid lane trading. He even got the minions with his E and managed to hit one at the same time. But he is one level behind. Touch though, want to go aggressive again.
Needs to be careful how aggressive he goes with this one. We see him just trying to dodge around. Has 3 hits there, but that will wear off, so no stun onto Imp. Holy Phoenix going to get exhausted. Imp will be exhausted as well. Mata, we forced to flash away. The slow comes onto touch. He will actually jump off there to his minions. Another phosphorus bomb comes out, and just not quite enough damage to finish off kills. Oh, Crystal
might be in trouble.
Yeah, wise move, I think, there away from those Void Spikes. The slow possibly could have been the end of it.
And down this bottom lane now, no flash for Mata. It opens up for Crystal to move down and go for the gank. A lot of action here. Dark Passage want to fight, same goes to Samson White.
Yeah, concentrating down here, this probably should be a point of focus for the junglers, especially with the Braum Ezreal, so much kill potential there, because Janna, as you said, no flash left, and you don't want to go for Corki anyway. He's got the Valkyrie, still has his flash. Dandy, though, he takes that opportunity. They chased off Crystal, and they're going to take away this red buff here. Should be a pretty easy deal. That was also Crystal's first back, by the way, because there was so much constant skirmishing. Finding the time to return to base to purchase items.
Instant side stone. So want some wards early on here. I mean, he could have gone for like Elder Lizard straight away, or at least try and rush it and just be like really, really strong in these 1-on-1, 2v2 skirmish counter ganks we might see. If he wanted to really try and snowball, get some over boosts as well. But going with the side stone is a safe way. Want some wards here early on.
The camp top looks real.
Still no flash.
Dandy and Lupa coming into this one. There is the slow, and he is going to land. The combo comes in from Alistair. Fabulous here. He's going to go down. Rune Prison is not going to be enough for him, and that is kill number 2, both of which have now gone to Dandy. This is good though from Dark Passage, realizing what's happening, going straight to Dragon.
And it's just good timing as well, because the bottom lane from Samson White, they were back in base, so it's going to be a safe Dragon here. Nobody to try and stop them. Dandy actually took the red buff from Dark Passage here, and there were wards from them, so they knew he was in there. And yet Fabulous, because Alistar is so good at diving towers, couldn't really do anything. As long as he doesn't have to flash, so he can't flash the headbutt, you pretty much die.
Mata interrupting both of the recalls there. And if you look at the gold, 1,000 difference basically in favor of Samsung White. Obviously coming from the big farm difference that they have. And of course the couple of kills as well. Ooh, Crystal might get caught out. No, not quite. The Howling Gale too slow to stop Crystal from going back. This mid lane, 68 to 44 CS. Once again, Naru was knocked away, and There are those Turkish fans again coming in strong. 73% the vote for DP.
I don't think it's just Turkish fans, though. There's a lot of people that are fans of the underdogs, and a lot of people from around the world would love to see Dark Passage do well.
It is pretty fun though with the way Samson White actually plays these games here. They never really want to be like over aggressive and just like tower dive you early on. They want to actually play the laning phase fairly safe, and then it's up to Dandy to run around and make the plays, or up to Samson White to punish a team like Dark Passage if they make a mistake in the laning phase.
Speaking of that laning phase, Pawn here is doing a great job beating up on Naru early. And they even fed the blue buff over to Pawn on Zed for the extra energy regeneration and cooldown so that he can continue to shove him into lane and force Fizz to use his pull to actually CS. Because that's his main skill. You're leveling that up first.
Oh, Holy Phoenix going a bit deep from this one. Phosphorus Bomb comes in. Corki, of course, level 6 here. Didn't have much mana left, though, in the end, is Imp. And that means that Holy Phoenix is able to get away. Use Summoner Heal. Actually managed to keep a hold of his flash, though. So just that one Summoner spell used on his front. Meanwhile, Fabulous has gone back home once again. Now got that tier. And is... Catalyst to protect, I'll remember the name in a second. And yeah, come back into lane from that one. Is still ahead slightly in farm despite those 2 deaths.
Look at Dandy here actually. Might spot Naru once he actually hits the ward. If he's gonna hit it, there we go.
Oh, Fish coming out though, and there is the jump away. Dandy gonna be caught from this, but here comes that Deathmark going down onto Naru. Can he time it properly? No, he can't. A little bit too late on that one, and Pawn will pick up his first kill.
And he was already used here, trying to actually get the kill onto Dandy. He flashed away, Pawn instant reacts, and managed to pick up the kill here and just making it even worse now for Naru in the mid lane. I mean, also just look at the items. He did actually manage to get a Sheen now, which is very huge for him. It's going to be a lot about the Sheen in the early game for a Fizz with the damage. But there's an instant Hexdrinker for Zed. I mean, just making it even harder for Fizz to do anything.
Yeah, you could tell Naru was having second thoughts about going all in on Dandy, even though he caught him in such a good position. Down bottom though, another trade.
Look at him, not scared of getting involved in this one. Touch gonna go low, Howling Gale comes through. Are they gonna dive this one? Holy Phoenix is at less than half HP. Touch only had a slither of health remaining. And once again, Imp and Mata, or basically Imp if we're honest, managing to force them both out. And there's a 50 CS lead there for him. He's dominating this bottom lane.
Yeah, it's all about the kills for Dark Passage. I mean, they've already lost on farm, so they just have to keep trying and fighting, but they're falling too far behind. There should be a Trinity Force for him fairly soon as well, and just making him even stronger in these small trades here. I just want to very quickly go back to the point with Naru there. He could actually have killed Dandy if he didn't hit the ward. If just sweeping against the ward, so he deactivated, he could have tried to surprise him, jump in with his E first, then his Q, and fish him once he flashed.
Mata does get away with his life here. Good little roam by Naru. Maybe we'll see more roaming from Naru to try and create something else. You know, sort of shake things up for Dark Passage. As you said, the lanes are very hard for them to salvage at this point. So this is when you start thinking about trying to move people around the map. Try and change them up.
Look at the damage coming out from Pawn there, though. Oh, down to half HP. Hexdrinker was followed up by a Cutlass here. And big CS lead opening up in that lane. Look at Dandy's waiting off to the side. Deathmark coming down. Nice little dodge from him. But what's going to happen? Wow, Naru flashing over the side. He's going to try and run around, but they're going to keep chasing here.
Crystal's got his back. Let's see if he can get back over this wall. Dandy by himself.
Oh, going in onto it. Crystal going to come around the side. Pawn actually flashed over the wall. Dandy, is he going to fall? Oh, there's the shield. Soon as well. Crystal going over. He gets exhausted. They're both going to go down. Mata picks up that kill. Now Imp moved around the side as well. Holy Phoenix in touch with Looper coming around the side. Misses the combo, but there is a Howling Gale. And just like that, 3 kills going over to Samsung White.
And the entire Samsung White team instantly react to the fight here. They all go to the mid lane. Missed it here. Dandy just survived. The shield come in from Mata there as the kick came in from Crystal.
Beautiful.
Stayed alive. But Naru dodging around, dancing around there in the mid lane. That was beautiful.
I have to say, just the way that Samsung White played that fight as well. I mean, Pawn went and took the Q from Crystal so that Dandy survived that as well. But should probably get away from this. I don't know, there's flash up for Looper as well.
Zed is coming.
Oh!
Boom. Yeah, Sheen in there, headbutt into auto attack, which of course still in at this stage, making Alistair still so very, very strong. That leaves Samsung White 7-0 on 4,000 gold. yet to give up a kill or a tower, looking to replicate that perfect game from yesterday.
Well, Dark Passage already got a dragon. So
that's true, but they can't.
If we're saying that a perfect game includes no dragons, then yeah. So this is beautiful play by Naro. Pawn wanted to blow his Playful Trickster with the ultimate, but then they didn't expect the flash over the wall. And now he gets into the bush where they already have the ward, waits for Crystal, and they try and collapse on Dandy. It's a good call, but look at Pawn. He flashes over, takes the Q. That saves him once. Then the shield saves him through the kick, and he's able to escape. Mata as well. He saved the exhaust until Crystal flashes over the wall for the chase.
And if you're actually looking at the minimap, you could see Fabulous up in the top lane. He wanted to teleport down, but because Alistar was still in the lane and could just interrupt him every single time, he had to run back to his own tower. And by the time he was at the tower, it was too late. The fight was already over. He couldn't teleport down. Looper did instead. Managed to pick up another kill and also get the tower.
Poor Looper, that Trinity Force is done, and he goes straight in there onto Fabulous as he's clearing out the ward. Just the headbutt will send him packing back off to that turret. He's going to go home, probably finish up that Rod of Ages here. So that can start itself stacking. And Dark Passage here, of course, took Dragon number one. They're going to go for it. TP coming down from Fabulous. Can Samsung White stop them? No, I think they can here. Imps coming around the side. There's a Frostless moment to touch. Crystal super low. Ulti comes out and touch, but Pawn in the back here is going to be wreaking havoc. And finally get rid of him. Naru trying his best, but he'll be surrounded by 3 men. Jump over the wall. Dandy will pick that one up, and Imp is still going here from the side. He's got a lot of damage to come from that next Frostless bomb. There is a kill with the auto attack. This is going to be an ace for Samsung White, surely. Holy Phoenix tries to get away, but Dandy chases with the red buff, will finish it off.
And Dark Passage, they knew they had to just try and go for this dragon here, but look at the items for Samsung White. You have Trinity Force completed on Corgi, so strong. Of course, the Z pick got a brutalizer as well. Like every single member from Samsung White had just been back to buy, and even though there was no teleport from Looper, they could win it.
Yeah, that was the idea. They want to try and take advantage of their window where they could possibly have a 4 versus 5 and rush down the dragon, but the 4 members of Samsung too strong. Chase them off, plus they get the dragon in the end.
Touch coming in there. Just trying to disrupt them somewhat, get a bit more vision down there, but all just a little bit too late. Let's watch that one again.
So first of all, Dark Passage already taking a lot of damage from the dragon itself. Im comes in with the Trinity Force, and Horn is just running around in the middle of the fight. All the attention from Dark Passage onto him, so Imp can just do whatever he wants. Naro said just a little bit too close to the wall, and he tried to jump over.
Yeah, Imp with the Trinity Force and the Janna shields right now. They're almost maxed out. This is a huge point for him. You could tell just the damage he was dumping out over there. Dandy does end up cleaning up the last kill as well.
So, at least Samsung White 12-0 up in kills. Over a 10,000 gold lead in place for them now as well. Still, 3 towers have gone down. All of the outer ring is dead here. If we look down some of those items, Zed, Pickaxe, Brutalizer, that Hex Drinker, and the Cutlass from earlier on. Sorcerer Shoes are in there for Imp. Got himself a Vamp Scepter as well, and there's still no Trinity Force on Holy Phoenix. That's how far behind he is currently. If we look over towards Nara as well, got his Arm Guard and the Sheen, so splitting between 2 items there.
We still have to give credit to Dark Passage. If we go back to like the start of the laning phase, in every single lane, they played aggressive. They tried to go for the fights. Up in the top lane here, Fabulous was controlling Looper. Bottom lane, we saw a lot of action between Touch and Holy Phoenix. Sadly enough, as they didn't get any kills early on, they never really managed to get a lead and just fell further and further behind.
Yeah, right now, you know, they've got this ridiculously strong Zed split pushing up there. Nobody can even get to the turret to try and defend. Woo!
Flash from Crystal back into the base. Had to use that one, otherwise it would have been curtains for him. That turret is going to go down. I should mention, how do they stop Juan here, who's 2-0-3, 60 CS ahead of his lane opponent, and they're just going to go straight onto this one. Got a few minions with them, and there is a flash in from Looper. They're going out towards Fabulous. He gets blown up instantly. Touch there at the front, trying to block out as much damage as he can, but Samsung White have done enough for the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor. 18 minutes and 50 into this one. We're going to be seeing the first inhib of the game going down.
Yeah, that one's definitely going down, and they very well could swing. Oh, never mind.
He's dead.
They might just finish the game here.
Yeah, looking maybe for an under 20-minute victory, which, you know, they lost that one Dragon here to stop the perfect game, if you like, but they've not given up a kill, they've not given up a turret, and they're looking to finish this one off here as quickly as they possibly can. We do have Fabulous back in. Crystal will be up in 5 seconds time as well. Oh, big burst. There is Looper diving in. They're going to go straight on top of this one. Touch falling low. There's a dive into the back.
Oh, can they get him?
He survives with the monsoon. Unstoppable.
They gotta get him. Holy Phoenix.
Finish him off. Holy Phoenix gets the kill there for Dark Passage. The fish didn't connect, but they've kicked Samsung White out of the base.
And they managed to defend the base. They didn't actually lose under 20 minutes here. Samsung White, they were pushing up. Greedy play. Wanted to go for some more kills and then try and finish the game. Dark Passage respond. Get a kill onto Dandy.
So, big lead here for Samsung White. I think we expected it deep down that this was going to be the case. Dark Passage, though, picking up that kill. Holy Phoenix will be happy about that one. Still, however, not got a Trinity Force. Imp has now added in another BF, so the last Whisper was done after that push by Pawn. Hydra for Dandy as well, so terrifying team that they're up against. I mean, they're pretty far behind. 50,000 gold here.
They could... No. I mean, you could try and go for the Baron here, but it would be complete suicide, of course. But for Dark Passage, it's just cool also to see the players after the games. They're actually still fairly happy because they know they are the complete underdogs in these fights here, on these games. They just want to try and learn.
Andy actually fighting on his own there. Crystal comes diving in and then back out to the ward. Bit of showmanship here as the Howling Gale comes in. Looper gonna pop his ultimate. He's underneath the turret, but he's a big, beefy Alistair with that ultimate going. The double kill comes down for Pawn. Fabulous is gonna explode, and now they're on towards Touch. Dandy will flash in for that one. We've got him going towards Holy Phoenix. Goes down. The phosphorus bomb is not enough. Dandy's gonna jump there into it. They kill off the game though, and that will be another victory here for Samsung White.
Still, though, 2 kills for Holy Phoenix in the very end. And killing Imp and Dandy, it's not too bad.
I mean, yeah, that was a valiant effort from Dark Passage.
They tried in the early game. We talked about how they had to be aggressive in lane, try and just all in like the first few minutes and see if they could manage to get a kill. Bottom lane tried, top lane tried. It didn't pay off. I mean, it happens. And obviously Samsung White are the stronger team.
Also, they did make a good choice in the early game. Even though Fabulous got camped up top, the second time they went for him, they took a dragon in exchange. So at least they got something out of it.
And I respect Dark Passage a lot here coming into this one. A lot of us were speculating, are they going to go with something completely outrageous tactically and from the picks? They didn't. They picked champions that they thought they could do well on in this game, and they tried to win the game, I'd say, in a standard fashion. Obviously, you're up against what could be the strongest team in the world right now, as a team coming from a country which is, I think we can safely say, just really getting started and, you know, building up to these big teams, powerhouse teams. And it's valuable experience for Dark Passage.
And it's also just fantastic to see like the Turkish community, how many fans are actually there to support Dark Passage.
Yeah.
How Dark Passage already picked up. They have a gaming house, I believe. There are a few other teams in Turkey who got gaming houses now. So the whole scene is evolving. And again, this is just representing your region and learn as much as possible. Take it back for next season and then use it. And then the rest of the teams can pick it up. And suddenly everyone slowly becomes better and better.
And that's, I think, the only way that your region can get better, by sending the teams out there, which, for me, why it's so important that we have these international wildcard teams in here to, you know, maybe not win a lot of games, maybe not win any games, but get the experience to take home.
Exactly. Accelerate the growth of that region and get them some of the experience.
Yeah. Well, a solid win either way for Samsung White. Now it's time to head over back to the gents of the analyst desk for a closer look at that game.
Thank you very much, Joe. You know what? Dark Passage, they came out. They tried to play aggressive.
They did.
They just didn't really mechanically have it in them. And another next to perfect game for White.
Yeah, but I do want to point out that Holy Phoenix rose from the ashes. He built towards the Trinity Force, and because of this, got 2 kills against Samsung White. So obviously, got his head in the right place.
Yeah, Monty, what's your take? I mean, Samsung White, again, dominant performance.
Yeah, there's not much to say about that, but if you look at Samsung White, you can see how far ahead they think in the game. There was one moment in the mid lane when the second red buff was coming up at about 7 minutes, when we had Pawn use his ult onto Naru in order to shove him out of lane. Dandy was already there set up. He forced a flash and chunked out Lee Sin, and then they immediately just collapsed on that red buff and started taking objectives away.
Just in general, when you watch replays from either of the Samsung teams, basically whenever they fight, their side lanes will always be in the right position as well. Those minions, it almost seems like they're magically pushing in the right direction, either coming back to them after a fight or just pushing away to them for pressure every time. That just shows you like how far they're thinking ahead, and you can't even analyze that because sometimes it's 2 minutes ahead. They put a small push here, small push there, then they go mid. Obviously in these games, these are more stompy, but in like these really complex, like really close games, that's where the real beauty of thinking ahead shines through, and that's something we're going to try and pay attention more as they progress through the tournament.
And it's cool because I've seen a lot of individual like smart plays as well, specifically from Pawn. He's burning his ultimate not to get kills necessarily, but like in the Talon game, for example, he's just tossing the ult out to just wave clear and get the heck out of the matchup, things like that. And he's just burning important cooldowns because there's nothing better to do anyway. And it's just like, I realize it makes sense in retrospect, but it's not something I see a lot of players do.
Yeah, it's revolutionary at this stage in time. The game continues to evolve, continues to improve. Samsung White, slightly obscure question. Do you think being in this group where they have been such heavy favorites and had such confident wins, last year they fell out of groups, Imp himself said we were overconfident. Do you think this could impact them going to quarterfinals, feeling they are even stronger and better than anyone else? You probably know the players better than anybody else, Monty.
Yeah, that's basically White has had an entire year of being mocked in Korea for their performance last year. And of course, Dade kind of the poster child of that. I mean, we still get kind of trash talk videos for champions in OGN where people reference Dade's Gragas. And so that's still the albatross that's hanging around his neck. And the players just going in this year seemed much more focused, really wanting to avenge what happened to them last year. And I don't think that... I would say old Samsung White would have troll picked this game. And instead they picked very, very seriously. And they just trying their hardest, that's for sure.
Double lift?
I am kind of concerned for Imp's over-aggressiveness because this game was kind of bad example, but I think EDG, their Samsung White's game versus EDG, Imp is super ready to just jump in 1v5, and that's like a good thing because he's such a great playmaker, and sometimes he makes it work. But in those small, rare instances where it doesn't work, he could potentially throw a big lead.
Well, we'll have to see if that does come to pass, Freak.
Yeah. I do think, though, that Samsung White are still going to be scrimming teams, not like Dark Pass, but scrimming the other Korean teams, scrimming the teams in the opposite side of the bracket. And so they still know there's these really good teams like Najin, White Shield, whatnot, that they're going to have to be worried about. So they're not going to sleep through the entire tournament. But yes, as you pointed out, Double If, they're got a big tendency to start playing improperly in the middle of a game.
Yeah, we'll see if that does come to pass. Guys, we do have to check in with Shox, who's standing by with one of the winning players from Samsung White.
Thank you very much. Quick shot. I'm EFU Shock supporter standing here with Samsung White's Mata after that victory. First question for you, Mata, is going for the Janna pick once again. Why do you think she's a strong pick right now?
요즘 잔나가 되게 자주 보이는데 잔나가 왜 좋은 것 같으세요?
일단 라인전에서 일단 무엇보다 강하고요. 힐도 있고 쉴드도 있고 원딜들이 좋아하는 서폿이기 때문에 좀 요즘에 유행을 하는 것 같아요.
Janna has a very strong lane phase, and she has a shield and heal. She's just one of the ADC's favorite support these days.
Would you care to rank what you think are the best supports and champions right now in the top 3 and why?
요즘 어떤 서폿이 제일 좋은 것 같아요? 한 3개 정도 얘기해 주세요.
일단 스레쉬랑 나미랑 그리고 나르 서폿 좋은 것 같아요.
Thresh, Nami, and Nar.
Can you ask him to explain why Nar?
나르는 왜 꼽았어요?
일단 요즘에 사람들이 나르라는 챔피언을 잘 모르기 때문에 이게 유행하기 전까지는 좀 좋을 것 같아요.
So I don't think not many people know about Nar. So unless it becomes popular, I think you can try to take advantage of that.
I don't think I'd go to solo queue with that just yet. Next question. Yesterday we saw Imp getting fantastic pentakill. How much of that was your doing, Mata?
어제 임프 선수가 처음으로 펜타킬 했는데 거기에 마타 선수는 얼마나 기여하셨나요?
일단 베인이 잘 큰 상태였기 때문에 그러니까 마지막 킬을 먹을 때 DP 탑솔러 분이랑 저랑 댄디 선수가 관여하게 되었었는데 저랑 댄디 선수가 한 90%는 만들어졌다고 봐요.
So I think me, Dandy, and of course the top laner of Deep Dark Passage, we made probably like 90% of that pentakill.
Another question relating to that. Last year, the issue with Samsung was, of course, getting overconfident. Do you step in after Imp gets that pentakill to maybe stop him from getting overconfident in this group stage?
작년 롤드컵 때 아무래도 삼성 화이트팀이 자만심 때문에 한 번 잡혔었는데 임프 선수가 펜타킬 한 이후에 좀 자제할 수 있도록 잡아줬었나요 혹시?
그냥 펜타킬이 사실 중요한 건 아니라고 생각하고 많은 챔피언도 보여주고 그리고 상대 DP팀이 저희보다 약팀이라고 생각해서 방심할 수 있지만 픽밴을 정말 열심히 준비했거든요. 그리고 방심하지 않고 다음 게임도 열심히 준비할 수 있을 것 같아요.
So I don't think the pentakill is that much of a big of issue, but we want to focus more on our banner picks. And even though Dark Passage was considered a weaker team than us, but we still try to be focused and we don't want to be too overconfident.
Besides taking care of overconfidence, what is to you the biggest difference or the biggest improvement in your team in relation to last year?
작년과 비교했을 때 올해 가장 달라진 점은 뭐가 있을까요? 그러면 삼성 화이트 팀한테.
저희 팀 작년 롤드컵에는 연습량이 엄청 저조했다면은 이번에는 그러니까 저번 시즌에는 거의 연습을 안 하다시피 했는데 이번에는 진짜 열심히 준비해가지고 이번 시즌을 준비하고 있는 중이에요.
Compared to last year, we're much more prepared. We practiced a lot more, and that way we're more in shape.
Well, you guys look fantastically in shape. 4-0 up already. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a quick break here in Taipei, but we'll be back in just a moment with SK Gaming, looking to keep their championship hopes alive against Starhorn Royal Club. Don't go anywhere.
Both heading up topside, but it looks like Crystal heads towards mid and Fab gets under the corner.
Oh, this is bad news for him. That's a good flash over, but Dandy will follow through. Crystal going to come around the side. Paul actually flashed over the wall. Dandy, is he going to fall? Oh, there's a shield. Soon as well. He's got a lot of damage to come from that next boss. Let's go. There is a kill with the auto attack. This is going to be an ace for Samsung White, surely. Oh, big burst. There is Looper diving in. They're going to go straight on top of this one. Touch falling low. There's a dive into the bottom.
Oh, can they get him?
He survives with the monsoon. Unstoppable.
They got to get
They finish him off.